Hello, teacher. We are group 9 and my name is Iwan. Today we will present about the tomb system in Hue City. Our presentation has four main parts. First is introductions. The second is the general characteristic of tomb in Hue. The third is striking differences between Tqdl Mausoleum and the others. And the last one is conclusions. During the Nguyen dynasty, there were 13 kings, but only 7 mausoleums were built. Today, our group will present about the common points of these 7 mausoleums and briefly summarize some of outstanding features of Tqdl tomb. And next, Lee will present about the second part.
So, hi, my name is Liz, and we start the introduction to the tomb system with the first thing in comments. Our tomb will consist of two parts, the real place for the dead and place of worship for the dead. Of course, this system will be built while the king is still alive. Next, please. And depending on the characteristics of the tomb, we can see clearly the size and aesthetic of the kings. For example, based on the process of learning history, we know that King Tqdl is a man of good qualifier, gentle temperaments, and very poetic. So when we visit here, we can feel that this is a place with a more charming and beautiful size of all the tomb, and especially the building in the King's Mausoleum have the great theme. Next, please. Another example. King Tqdl designed new clothes and built Tqdl Palace, and in Palace, done in modern architectural styles. Another detail, to build mausoleum, Tqdl allowed people to come to France, China, and Japan to buy many different materials to construct the project. So through contact with the West, directly with the French, so it had greatly influenced this aesthetic sense of the king. Next, please. The Nguyen dynasty kings built their own tombs while they were still alive because of Confucianism part of life and the philosophies of the Buddha in its identity. Next, please. And two main functions: a place where kings sometimes came to have friends, and the real place where the king died. Next, please. For example, Kiem Cung Mon is the area for the king to rest, while Kiem Palace for the king to work. Now is a place to worship the king and queens. Next, please. Lincoln Palace used to be the resting place of the king. Later used to worship the spirits of Tqdl and the mother of King Tqdl. Next, please. And it's about Tqdl Palace, the place where the actor is to worship King Tqdl. Above is engraved with the name Tqdl. Below this temple is placed the body of the king. And now Anya will introduce the next part. Anya, please.
Good afternoon, teachers and friends. And today I will introduce the feng shui of the King's Tomb system. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, feng shui means an ancient Chinese belief that the way your house is built or the way that you arrange objects affect your success, health, and happiness. Next slide. The Nguyen dynasty selected the site to build the mausoleum on the basis of feng shui Hình Thể Tông. Hình Thể Tông takes shapes and layouts that the guideline observed, determine the terrain of stream, mountain, lakes, and especially the Huyền Cung, the place where king corpse located. In the center architectures, fans must be located correctly. And Huyền Cung là nghĩa nơi đặt quan tài của vua. Here the pictures of Huyền Cung. Next slide. From the perspective of feng shui, Chinese geomancies mean long must be interpreted as dragon veins, which are the energetic region strategically located underneath the like blood vein in human body. These powerful veins are supposed to embrace circulatory natures of air. And you can see the picture. Next slide. This picture, you can see the beginning point of mountain veins is where source of energy emits and sent down. The ending point of mountain veins is where source energy condenses. And right at the node of the mountains is a decisive place where energy converts. It is supposed to be a promising land for laying to rest, and cemetery sites bring about good fortunes and prosperity. Next slide. Here are the pictures of Ya Long Tomb and the Minh Mang Tomb. As you can see, the common point that the tombs of Nguyen dynasty are all located to the west of Tqdl, along the two banks of Hương River. It is a symbol of Thái Dương Tây Hà, indicate the king dead and the sunsets in the west, and the only great one. All the mausoleums are built and planned in accordance with the feng shui philosophy. I cannot translate into English because it's not a discover a full meaning. And in Vietnamese, it means Sơn Triêu Thủy Tú, Tiên Ảng Hồ Chấm Tà Thánh Long Hữu Bạch Hồ. Next slide. We can see here the pictures of these animals. Thánh Long represent the east, carry a pan mộc. Chú Tước represent the south, carry a pan hỏa. And Bạch Lỗ represent the west, carry a pan kim. Huyền Vũ represent the north, carry a pan thủy. And they are the four spirits for the four directions. King build tombs and palace all use this magic. The next part is structure. Vân will represent it. Thank you.
Hello, teacher. I will continue with this structure. As you can see in this slide, Tqdl and Tqdl tomb are two clear examples of structure. The tombs were built from low to high. The outermost is the surrounding wall with porcelain flowers and tree. The main gate is two elaborate yards. Next slide, please. The two sides of the yards are custom statues of mandarins, elephants, and horses. At the ends of the courtyards is bindings or holy Sancho for the mandarins to do the ritual during the sacrifice. Next. Next is building or Khonlik Nha Bia is a small building with a large steel on a high stone pedestal called Thánh Đức Thân Cống. You know, in the steel will be engraved the inscription remembering the king's marriage. And this is the example of the building. Next slide. Behind buildings are two pillars, the pillar of the soul. You know, it is to pillar so the power of the kings and limit the area of the mausoleum and the tombs where the king's corpse is buried. Through the buildings is the temple where the kings and the queens were worshipped. And the next part, one will present.
One turn on the micro.
Hello, teachers again. This my part is about the symbols of the tombs. As I note, in the tomb of the ancient kings and general, There were usually statues of four animals. They are horse, goats, tiger, and dogs. Accordingly, horse is a symbol of loyal because of their characteristic. Thus, when the battle is over, it is better to die, never give up, to be faithful to their boss. Beside a goat is a symbol for peers. The tiger would rather die, never surrender to other symbolizing constant. Dog, even though he were hungry and cold, did not abandon his own as a code that a wise dog does not criticize a difficult owner, symbolize nobility of mind. A tomb covered with on for these animals, he understood that the skin who under the gray has four virtues. The next slide is about Hue City. You can see in the pictures one small tomb in Hue City has elephant and horse statues. Right at the course are the stone statues of elephant and horse, silver mandarins, and military mandarins. Each side has two rows. From the outside in the front of the row were two pair of pillar and then two pair of mandarins, and then back row was a pair of elephant, a pair of horse, and then six pair of words. The next slide is about all of them has repulsive nuance toward the disease mental when the kings of the armies it was when the kings of the horse is looking after him. Whether turned or short, the statue in his mausoleum with the sign not much lower than real people is shown quite meticulously in details, multiplying the impression of monument and creating respect among the workers. And the last point of the symbol of tombs. Next slide is at the tomb, there are two large symbols on the outside, signaling the area of a mausoleum, reminding those who step into a church the posture properly and majestic. As you can see on the pictures, in hidden pictures, on the left and right of Bident are two pillar symbols of two candles to illuminate the king's soul in the afterlife. And the next part of Huang.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Huang, and now I am going to present to you guys about the typical layout of imperial tomb in Hue City, especially the layout of landscaping. Next slide, please. Because most of the Nguyen dynasty kings were talented in poetry and music, they appreciated the beauty of nature, including trees, flowers, and greeneries. At the Hue former capital, not only because of the architecture of palace, temple, and mausoleums, but also the various types of tree and flower planted many years ago. This is a critical component in forming the landscape heritage in the Hue Royal Coast. And the next, in particular, the greenery system is one of the main factors of the city landscape, which are the part of culture and historical heritage at the age, and variety of trees in the tomb are as impressive as the tomb design. Now let's move to about the tree. Next, please. Many ancient trees bearing the characteristics of their own era, and the type of tree planted are different in the period range by different Nguyen dynasty. Here I will show you some pictures of old tree, which is a significant part of the Hue Monument's complex landscape heritage. Next slide. Yeah, as you can see, especially notable at the King Mausoleum, the two sake trees in the Yalom Mausoleum were planted during the King Yalom reigns. And many old ham trees are neatly planted in the remaining basin from ancient time as Minh Mang Mausoleum, Nestle. And their ancient pin rope hundreds of years old at Emperor Tqdl. And the last one is the Tqdl Mausoleum featured at a unique Bang Tqdl as well as a beauty ancient Siam in from the king tomb. And the last slide, if you look at it, you will see plumeria flower rise, which it appear every tomb like Tqdl tomb or Minh Mang tomb. On the emperor decided to include plumeria, a fragrant flowering plant, in the landscape design of their own tomb. As for the reason of such design, it may stem from the religious belief of the flower significant in worship place, as it had been associated with ghosts and cemetery in many other Asian countries. And now we will Auntie Park.
Hi everyone, my name is T, and now I move to the third part, the striking difference between Tqdl Mausoleum and the others. Tqdl tomb has a very strange architecture. Unlike the mausoleum of the previous kings, it's a mixture of many different architectural schools. At first glance, Tqdl tomb is like castles in Europe because it was built of concrete on a mountainside. And the first special architecture is the Tam Quang Gate. From the ground, you must pass 37 ranks to reach the Tam Quang Gate. On the first floor, there are two buildings, Ta Tong Tu and Hu Tong Tu, built to worship the princesses. It was built elaborately with the participation of many good artisans and craftsmen. This is considered the most prominent of all tombs in Hue, thanks to its unique architecture that blends modern European features and Vietnamese clashes. Lastly, continue to pass 29 ranks, you will go to the place Nghi Môn and Ba Dinh Courtyard. On the both sides of Ba Dinh Courtyard, there are two rows of statues, including officials and martial art officials, carved in accordance with the ritual of One. Unlike other mausoleum, the statue in Tqdl Mausoleum has 6 pairs of guards. Its pairs of statues at the same time next to each other are made symmetrically with the opposite pairs of objects. And lastly, another unique architecture is Tqdl Palace. Tqdl Palace is located at the highest position and also the main architectural part of the mausoleum. Tqdl Palace, the place where Tqdl King is buried. This is the place that shows the unique architecture of on-tomb in Hue. The background of Tqdl Palace is lined with the marble and the entire interior is decorated with reliefs made from policing, and the glass extremely sophisticated and beautiful. Next, please. The art of porcelain glass mosaic is still elegant and adds more appeal to the mausoleums. And the last part will be presented by Chang.
Hello everyone, my name is Dang, and today I'm really happy when share all of you guys my about the differences between Tqdl tomb and another tombs. And you can see this is a Bia Thánh Đức Thành Công, and it is often written by a son about his father married. And the epitaph here was written in Chinese characters. And the epitaph records on the architectural work built under the mausoleum complex when King Marai raised a personality in life and life of his father. And the next is the king cross. And there is a special thing that Kaiding Mausoleum is different from many tombs of previous king. That is, for the tomb of the Nguyen dynasty, the king body is located somewhere in the mausoleum is difficult to identify. Kaiding Mausoleum is clearly located. And the movement of king were watched by French priests, and that was a wife funeral by many foreigners, and so where the king's body was buried. And the mausoleum complex were due to the volatile historical situation when Kaiding was crowned king. The corpse was manipulated by the French, and the funeral of King Kaiding was sound up by many foreigners, and so where the king body was not buried a secret like the previous king. And the special feature of the mausoleum and the most artistic values in Tianjin Palace, the burial place of King Kaiding body. Porcelain and stone dish from China, and the pan brought back to many artisans into many pictures. The special feature of Tianjin Palace is that one three floor. The picture hidden night dragon and night dragon hidden in the clouds. And inclusion, mausoleum in which we bring to you its beauty with the harmonious combination between the Asian beauty, creative architect, and nice landscape tranquil space. And that's all about our presentation. Thank you for listening.